And now we have the indie effect.
Yep.
Not long after Blizzard's triumphant Overwatch documentary, Metzen resigned. He had been with the company since the early 90s, working in Warcraft 2, serving as lead designer in StarCraft, and taking the reins of creative director in Warcraft 3. A couple of months later, he went on the Instance podcast to talk about his reasons for leaving. He said it was genuinely hard to leave, but the demands of game development had taken their toll. Here's the quote. I think during those years, I burned out really hard. I think in my heart, I needed a change in my life. I wanted to slow down. I wanted to just not carry the weight of it all.
Fair.
That is a big, that's a pretty big mood.
Yep.
One sec. I've just been sent a link.
Yes. This is is it offering extra RAM?
No, it is, no, it's a link from a good guy, but it is actually to the article we're already reading.
Okay,
Never
cool.
mind.
Cool.
For a second, I thought I was going to have some mad drama spilt in my DMs.
Just to reply with the link to the stream.
Yeah.
Shill us.
Yeah, so that's it. Metzen burnt out. I think we knew that.
Yeah.
He ended up, he quit. I think him and Cat Hunter, I believe, got married. He's, of course, we're probably going to get into War Chief soon. Burnout is common in tech, particularly in games, which is a notorious grind, even when not taking things like crunch into account. At Blizzard, where it's possible to spend a decade or more working in one game, it's natural to want a change of scenery. That's what happened with Cheng, who spent 10 years in Diablo 3 before moving over to Diablo Immortal. I missed the feeling of being in a smaller project, and I knew Diablo Immortal could not be small forever, but I love being there at the birth of a project and riding out that small team feel for as long as you can. We're not small anymore, but it's a nice cultural thing. I just needed a break from 10 years of the big team stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, it says here, Matson remained close to Blizz, reprising his role as Thrall in Battle for Azeroth, along with other cameos. He co-founded War Chief Gaming in 2018. Of course, they... Oh, interesting. He co-founded War Chief Gaming, a studio dedicated to tabletop role-playing games that launched a Kickstarter last month. Funded in 11 minutes, currently sitting at more than 1 million. We asked Metzen if he wanted to talk about his experiences, but he did not return our email.
He wants fucking nothing to do with it, I imagine.
If you're Metzen, all you get's drama here.
Yeah.
And IGN then saying that gives him a little bit of drama and like puts a bit of an onus, a bit of a pressure.
He did not return our email. I mean, like...
Yeah, maybe it's because he didn't want to be friggin' bothered. Like,
yep. Man wants to make his thing, I think.
More and more Blizzard employees are following in Mattson's footsteps. Whether it's because of burnout or because of a general sense the company is trending in the wrong direction, many long-time employees are moving to the indie space. At least 5 studios stocked with former Blizzard developers have launched in the last couple of years. Second Dinner by Ben Brode, bunch of the Hearthstone team pissed off into their own studio. Frost Giant, ex-StarCraft 2 developers. Lightforge, which we've covered. Secret Door that we've covered. There's also a few others, and I believe, I think there's more in the pipeline. And here we have sources within Blizzard say that the departures have had a ripple effect on teams used to long-term stability.
I can imagine, like...
Yeah, that's gonna... I have a few things in my head.
Yeah.
Not for talking, though.
Yeah, you cannot have morale stay up without happening, like... Not a chance.
There's going to be a significant challenge. A significant challenge.
Yep, for sure.
So here's a quote. I feel like I get a going away email every day from people I know. Like it feels like people are constantly leaving now, a source says. A lot of my friends have left, and there have been team closures over time. Blizzard downplays these departures, arguing that a development team is more than just a Ben Brode or a Jeff Kaplan. And of course, they're right in that regard. But sources within Blizzard say that the departures have had a ripple effect in the team's used to long-term stability. Aaron Keller talks about how Kaplan was a mentor figure and a friend over almost 14 years. That's like, I think, a big, long quote about how Jeff is basically awesome and a big loss. So I can sort of skip on through that.
Yep, helps people Blizzard, basically. Good man.
In the meantime, the sudden proliferation of independent studios filled with Blizzard veterans has drawn attention from fans and media. Like Metzen, many appear to still be close to the former company. An ex-Blizz dev we spoke to who went independent. Oh yeah, the ex-Blizzard devs we spoke to who went independent were reluctant to damage their relationships with their former comrades. Look, that's the sort of thing... You will probably, if you're in a bar, if you're in private, you'll probably have a lot of opinions from a lot of these people, but it's nothing they'd want to share to the press in a situation where it could be tracked back to them. Because, if you talk to somebody, and even if you're kept anonymous, somebody in the team would probably be able to work out that it was you that talked to the press.
Yeah, based on what you know, based on if you've shared the opinion before. It's the kind of thing where apparently, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Activision are pretty ruthless and litigious when it comes to people dealing with anything that they shouldn't be talking about. I mean, obviously you immediately think to the awful time they gave to Jason West and Vince Zampella back in the day.
Oh, of course,
and they didn't even do anything wrong. Well, case settled. Legally speaking, I don't know, but it's you don't want to. You also don't want to burn the building down when your mates are still in it.
Yeah. The next thing then, this next paragraph is basically just saying, venture capital really big. COVID, gaming went big. VCs interested in gaming. So many studios appear. And this guy they were talking to, Ed Fry's. Fry's recollection is that Frost Giant CEO Tim Morton, a former StarCraft 2 production director, decided to start a new company around the same time the Blizzard put StarCraft 2 into maintenance mode. I'm very sad. Tim and several other key people on that franchise decided to leave and start a new company to move forward with a sort of spiritual successor. And my understanding is they really did it with the blessing of the company. In fact, if you look, the day they announced the studio was actually the same day that Blizzard announced they weren't going to do a sequel. Oh, StarCraft's dead.
Yep.
And I want to believe, and so I believe that was a coordinated effort between Blizzard and Tim's team to kind of say, these guys are going to take it forward. Activision Blizzard responded in a statement. Tim Morton kept Blizzard leadership informed of his plans to open his studio, and we parted in good terms. We wish him and his team the best and are looking forward to playing what they create, while we at Blizzard continue to think about what's best for StarCraft. Here's something, just because you read this in paper. I've seen, even the one locally, where all of these, about late last summer, sort of in that direction down the road, sort of company, the sort of thing where something can be absolute bullshit that there should be a little bit of the old social penalty for, but both parties can issue a nice little statement, a nice little calm statement.
Yep.
All is good because it's actually mutually beneficial that there is no drama.
Yes.
That is the situation.
Yep. No, we did not get in a fight, they say, as they are covered in bruises.
Yeah.
It's
lead designer Kevin Dong is among the developers who departed Blizzard to form Frost Giant. He talks of the differences between his new indie role and Blizzard, such as the lack of a dedicated social media department. Instead of handing off responsibilities, he does his best to help run Frost Giant's social media channels while also focusing on his core design duties. One benefit of being in a smaller company is there's a limited number of people involved in any decisions being made, and all those people are easily reachable. No longer do we have long email chains that involve 10 people from 5 different departments. So decision-making is a lot more streamlined.
I wonder what he's talking about. I wonder.
I bloody wonder.
Yeah, this is entirely hypothetical and nothing to do with the...
See, that's big. That bit's big.
That's...
It totally happens.
Having that knowledge crystallized as not an assumption we're making completely, it doesn't change, but it completely hammers home a lot of the problems we see with Blizzard's work.
Yeah, you want to structure your teams and sub-teams that are as self-sufficient as is humanly possible, so that you can have a small amount of people do their best work with as little overhead as is possible. Yeah. I very much don't think Blizzard is like that. I think they're way more old school and hierarchical, where they've just been plugging people into the same old format and structure they've had for a long time, and it obviously doesn't work that well. Dong says Frost Giant is currently composed of 80% Blizz vets.
Jesus.
One challenge is finding experienced RTS devs. It just so happens, he says, Blizzard has one of the largest concentration of those in the country, so it follows that have a higher percentage of ex-Blizz people.
Of course, you're going to be looking at StarCraft 2 developers and then StarCraft 2 pro players, and that's about it.
Yeah, and it says here, while Dong was aware that support for StarCraft 2 was waning, not in the least because of his team getting progressively smaller, he would notice that. Oh dear, people keep on disappearing. He says he wasn't aware of the October announcement that StarCraft 2 would enter maintenance mode when he decided to depart the company in September.
Interesting.
He is complimentary of Blizzard. I know everyone at Frost Giant struggled with his or her personal decision to leave Blizzard, and at least for me, only a special project with a special team could have pulled me away. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably quite true. There's also a degree where that is obviously the thing you would say publicly. Yes. I mean, yeah, I have heard similar from people. I have also heard very different from people. So, it's that thing where it's going to be a different experience for everyone who is involved.
For sure.
As with anything, the decision to go independent varies from dev to dev. Plenty leave because their game's been cancelled or put into maintenance mode. A common factor seems to be a desire to return to a smaller, more intimate environment. A separate source within Blizzard observed that former Blizzard developers typically haven't left to lead big-budget games like Assassin's Creed. They've gone to smaller studios, perhaps in search for what one current Blizzard source terms that family feeling again. Which I guess implicitly means that family feeling is going away at Blizzard.
Yes.
While that feeling is reportedly still present at Blizzard, shifting team sizes can cause a developer to go looking for that feeling elsewhere. Yeah. So it's kind of like they haven't been able to scale their culture as effectively as one would hope, I suppose.
And I think if you're looking for a family feeling, it doesn't necessarily mean that's not a family for anyone.
Yeah.
It could just mean, all it takes is one person to leave, and then the sort of family chain breaks down. If they are not, if they were being surrounded by people, suddenly they're not, then that kind of just keeps happening.
Investors, meanwhile, are looking for experienced developers who can quickly start up a successful studio, and Blizzard developers are more available than they used to be, says a source. Yeah.
That's a line.
I almost think a lot of the things that made it harder to poach Blizzard people stopped. So it's becoming very easy to poach, and a lot of senior people can just take people with them. Because it doesn't matter what the actual situation is, people believe in the narrative. And when that narrative is this place is going downhill, it's really easy to talk people into leaving it. Yeah, and it's evidently working with key people actually leaving.
It definitely feels like it's, from a player's perspective, it feels like it's way more than a narrative. And unless this revitalization, or whatever it was called at the start of this article, does start to appear at the end of, next year? Or next year? I mean, the narrative's truth until they can prove otherwise, I think.
Sort of, yeah.